She's a policewoman on the beat.
But her brother's been missing for 13 years.
Now Penny must launch her own investigation to find him. Good morning. This is Missing Live. Over the past 3 weeks, we've been asking for your help to find just some of the 600 people reported missing every day in the UK.
The police and the charity Missing People are here all morning. The number to call is 0500 700 700. If you can help with any of our cases, then please pick up the phone.
Someone, somewhere, must know something. Is that you?
And Joe from Missing People is here to update us. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning.
What have you got for us today?
Well, we did take quite a lot of calls to missing people yesterday, but in particular we took calls on Craig Heatherington,
All right.
who you featured yesterday. Craig's been missing for over 5 years now, so quite a long time missing from Middlesbrough. And yesterday we took over 10 calls, so we're taking that as a very positive sign.
Well, that's really good, actually, for a case that's been going on for 5 years. Is that unusual? Is that normal? Is that what you'd
Most missing people do turn up relatively quickly, but obviously this time it's been a long period of time. Family very, very anxious to have news of him. So we urge anyone really with any amount of information, however insignificant that may seem, to call
Yeah,
missing
absolutely.
people.
I think we got a picture of Craig just to remind people at home what he looks like, and we got a very good description. He's an engineering student, of course, and he's 6'2" tall, so he's quite a tall guy. He's slim and he's got short, fair hair. So if anyone has seen him, then of course we urge them to get in contact with us. And your lines, of course, are open 24/7. Aren't
That's
they?
right, yeah.
They can do that. Thank you. We'll be talking to you later on, Joe.
It's her job to patrol the streets of the capital, but there's one case she can't solve: the case of her own missing brother. In London alone, around 25,000 people are reported missing every year. Teams of dedicated police officers work night and day to find them. Penny Bateman joined the Met over a year ago. She's a constable at Hackney Police Station, on one of the busiest beats in the country. She's worked on all sorts of cases herself, but today she's asking for the police to help her with a very personal investigation.
I've been looking for my brother David Bateman, who's been missing. I haven't actually seen him for about 13, 14 years, since 1995. Last time my family saw him was about 9 years ago, so obviously we're quite concerned as to where he is. I'm going to file a missing persons report at Hackney.
Penny's tried to find her brother David many times in the past, but she's had no luck. She won't get any special treatment at Hackney just because she works there, but she is hoping that with their help she'll have more success this time. Penny has an appointment with Graham Palmer at the Missing Persons Unit.
Right. So that's really a circumstance of when he went missing.
The last time David was seen was a week before my brother's wedding.
I'll tell you, he said he was going on all the rest of it.
Yeah, he was supposed to be... I can't remember if he was supposed to be my brother's best man, because our father's dead, so
Okay.
I can't remember what my brother Eddie said about it, but the long and short of it is that he was all set to be there for the wedding and he just didn't turn up.
And that was the last time, so you're not heard from, yeah?
Yeah.
No other names that you're aware of?
My mum thinks he might have changed his surname to Thompson, which
Okay.
was his last foster family.
Right, yeah.
Thanks, Graham.
All right.
Thanks for your
See
time.
you later, sweetie. Yeah,
Thank you.
take care.
Graham is optimistic about the case, but he knows that Penny's search may not result in what she's hoping for.
If we were to locate him, then the only thing I could tell her is he's alive. I couldn't even tell her where, unless he agreed that we could pass the information on to her. It's not that easy because you tend to find that if someone disappears for that length of time without any contact at all, that it's more deliberate act.
Over half of people who go missing due to relationship problems decide they don't want contact with their families again. David and Penny always used to be close. Growing up, they were peas in a pod.
My memories of David when I was little are just us terrorising the place, building dens and camps, climbing trees, not being able to get back down again.
The sudden death of their dad in 1979 changed everything. His mum couldn't cope with looking after the 4 young children on her own.
The family kind of split up. My 2 brothers went into care, and my sister went to live with my aunts, and I was fortunate enough to stay at home with my mum. I saw David not as often as, you know, I would like to have had when I was little, because he was in a children's home. He'd come home maybe for Christmas holidays, summer holidays, or we'd go and visit him, and then he went to stay with foster parents, and then we'd see him a little bit more.
At only 7, he'd lost the 2 most important people in his life.
I think that when David went into care, that was probably quite hard for him, because he was at an age where he's now building a relationship and a bond with his father, and his father's just taken away. So yeah, I think that it did hit him quite hard, and I know that over the years he hasn't quite let go of his father being lost.
75% of people who are reported missing turn up within 2 days. But the searches that go on for longer, like David's, are considerably harder to solve. Dave Brewster is working with Graham Palmer on his case. They're following a long paper trail to see if David appears on any official records.
We'll do some basic inquiries that we would do for any missing persons inquiry. Straight away, I think Graham will do some inquiries with births, deaths and marriages to see if he's unfortunately passed away. And we'll just try out some basic stuff around the passport office and driving licences and so on.
It's laborious work, but crucial to a long-term case like this. Penny moved around a lot before settling in London. And before she lost contact with David 13 years ago, he was living in Oxfordshire.
The last time I saw him was when I left. I was in the Lake District for about a year, and I came back down and stayed with my mum. And I was there for a couple of weeks before I moved to High Wycombe, and he came over. And I suppose I was like 19, I think, or 18. And that was very briefly, and that was the last time I saw him.
Later on Missing Live, after dozens of calls, they're closing in on David. But is he alive? And will he agree to speak to his sister?
OK, take care. Bye now. Right, excellent stuff. Got a number for the girlfriend.
And we'll return to Penny's search for her brother a little later. But first, your help's needed to find a 16-year-old Bing Wu. She's been missing from Loughborough in Leicestershire since the 25th of February this year. Bing's 5'2", slim, with brown eyes and long, straight hair. And there's a lot of concern about her because of her age. So if you can help in any way, then please call Missing People. The number's 0500 700 700. Landline calls are free, but mobile charges may vary.
He's everyone's best friend, and he's always up for a laugh. So what made Ron walk away from everyone who knew him?
This is Ron Hopper. He's always the joker and up for a laugh. His home is in the East Sussex seaside town of Eastbourne. He moved here from Kent in 2001 at the age of 22. He's a carpenter and he applied for a job at a local joiner's firm.
I thought he seemed quite a nice guy. You know, you sort of get your gut feelings about people when you first meet them, you know. But he turned out a good man.
Ron's a hard worker and fun to be around. He quickly settled in.
He used to love listening to Radio 1 in the afternoons, and, you know, the song would come on, and suddenly he'd start singing like, you'd think it was a woman singing. Like, it is the pitch of his voice. He used to just absolutely crack up and be all of us laughing away. It's like, Ron's off again.
Nobody knows Ron better than his younger brother Terry.
When we were growing up, he was always very fun-loving, always a bit crazy. very unconventional in his outlook. We were all very outdoorsy. We sort of grew up climbing trees and riding our bikes and that kind of stuff.
When Ron moved to Eastbourne in 2001, the brothers saw less of each other, but their relationship remained strong, and Ron was the best man at Terry's wedding.
Yeah, this is my brother. I've known him 23 years. He's 23. He's a good guy.
When we were together, it was like we'd never been apart. It was like we were teenagers again, and we'd see each other and have the same in-jokes that we'd had years before growing up.
For his first 4 years in Eastbourne, Ron lived in a cramped bedsit.
I was living in a house and I had a spare room, so I basically invited Ron to come and stay with me, renting one of my rooms.
The two became friends straight away.
Always joking, absolutely lovely guy, really genuinely lovely guy.
Ron's considerate nature was also appreciated by his workmates.
One Monday morning I turned into work and he said, "Oh, I've rearranged your phone book." He got his laptop and printed off all these sheets of all in alphabetic order. And he put them in a book and said, "There's a present for you." And I thought, I was flabbergasted. I thought, this is so nice.
In July 2003, Ron's father, who lived in Kent, was taken seriously ill. As his condition worsened over the next 7 months, Ron's work started to suffer.
I noticed he'd making quite a few mistakes. A few times I got quite cross with him. I said, "Look, you know, why have you done this such a silly mistake?" He said, "Look, I'm sorry, it's my father." He said he's passed away.
After the strain of his father's death, Ron's behaviour begins to change.
He started spending a bit of money, buying gifts for various people.
Computer games, DVDs, you know, you name it.
I think he bought himself a laptop and got electrical bits and pieces.
Before long, Ron is living well beyond his means.
And then he turned up outside with this 7 Series BMW. I couldn't believe my eyes. It was an amazing car.
How had Ron managed to buy the car?
We found out he'd got this money from credit cards and a bank loan. And we said to him, "Look, you know, you must be mad doing this because, you know, obviously you've got to pay it back."
But by the end of 2005, Ron has run up debts of £40,000, more than twice his annual income.
I know he'd been to see a financial advisor who'd recommended that he declared himself bankrupt.
A month later, they speak again, and Terry can tell Ron isn't coping. The money problems are getting to his brother.
He didn't sound happy. I'm used to him being very bubbly, very fun and off the wall, but he wasn't himself.
Then, on the 13th of February 2006, Ron doesn't turn up for work, which never happens. When he hasn't made contact by the end of the day, his boss is very concerned and checks up on him.
His landlady come to the door and I said, "Have you seen Ron?" And she said, "Well, he's at work. Hasn't come home yet." And I said, "No, he hasn't been to work."
Well, you know, let's try upstairs. So we went upstairs, knocked on the door, no answer.
So I pushed the door in, and there was all his clothing, his laptop, everything, his work gear.
But no Ron.
So I said, "I think something's not quite right. You know, maybe you should call the police."
They report Ron missing to East Sussex Police. Still to come on Missing Live. Can mobile phone tracking technology help the police trace Ron?
This indicated to us that Ron was potentially back within the East Sussex area.
If you think you can help find Ron, please call Missing People. The number to call is 0500 700 700. Landline calls are free, mobiles may vary.
Joe, what have you got for us now?
Well, we had the case yesterday of Leanne Seychelles, who had been missing since March this year. We announced yesterday on the programme that she had returned, which was great news.
Yeah, she's the young girl from Lambeth, isn't she?
That's
right.
Great news. Yeah. Unfortunately, she has gone missing again, so we're making a fresh appeal today for Leanne.
Oh no, that's not good news at all. But is that common?
Unfortunately, there are some young people who do repeatedly run away. Our experience at Missing People with the Runaway helpline is that they'll repeatedly make contact with us, and that's what we encourage any missing young person to do, to call into the helpline.
So you mentioned the Runaway helpline. How can that help young people such as Leanne then?
If someone calls into the Runaway helpline, they know that the call can't be traced. It's a confidential call. We'll talk through the situation with them. We understand the reasons that people go missing, so we're there to empathise with them. But ideally, we help them get back in touch, maybe passing on a message, maybe doing a three-way call, maybe helping them talk to the police via a three-way call. There are lots of things we can do.
Is there any other support that you can offer teenagers?
There are a limited number of safe places for young people who run away. There aren't many refuges in the UK, so a lot of it's about linking back to people that they're in touch with, but that also might be a social worker or a police officer, something like that.
Yeah, well, you've mentioned it's confidential, so if people do want to call the Runaway helpline, if they really, really don't want to say where they are, then the main thing, I guess, is just to say that they're safe and well.
Yeah.
So in Leanne's case, I hope that's what she does. That number, incidentally, for the Runaway helpline is 0808 800 70 70. Mobile charges may vary there.
Another person we need your help to find is 72-year-old Edward Grant. He went missing from Lambeth in South London just 6 days ago. Edward is 5'8" with grey hair. Now, when he was last seen, he was wearing a black jacket, a blue baseball cap and white trainers. If you have any information about Edward, please call Missing People. The number is on your screen right now.
It's Christmas Eve. A teenager goes out with his friends, but it'll be a night his parents will never forget.
This is 17-year-old Josh Beasley. He's a confident teenager with ambitions to train as an actor.
Enemies beat us to the pit. It is more worthy to leap in ourselves than tarry till they push us.
Josh lives with his family in Lee Green in southeast London. He's studying for his A-levels.
Josh had been out during the afternoon of Christmas Eve with his friends. They'd been drinking in Greenwich, and their plan was to go ice skating there together as a group. Josh left the pub on his own for no apparent reason. He was vulnerable because he had been drinking and was probably not used to having a lot to drink.
At 4 o'clock, Josh is seen alone at the open-air skating rink at the Royal Naval College, but he doesn't stay long.
The last definite sighting we have of Joshua is at the bus stop just by the town centre, and that's at about 5:20 on Christmas Eve.
15 minutes after leaving the bus stop, Josh's mobile phone goes dead. A few hours later, his mum and dad contact the police when he fails to return home. The story of his disappearance is soon all over the news, but no one seems to have seen him. This is the bus stop in Greenwich where Josh was last seen. It's exactly a month since he went missing. His parents are here with the police to appeal for information from the public.
What we're doing tonight is we are conducting a 4-weekly anniversary appeal to try and identify witnesses that may have seen him at the bus stop or after he left the bus stop.
Hey there, sir. Sorry to trouble you. Can I just ask you to take one of these? Of course. We're just doing an appeal for a missing person. If you hear anything or see anything, there's a number on the plate to call. Thank you very much.
Police talk to dozens of people, but no one has any information about Josh. The next day, his family receive a call. The body of a young man has been found in the Thames, just 4 miles east of Greenwich.
Through DNA testing, the body that we found in Barking was subsequently proved to be that of Josh Beasley. At that stage, we didn't know what had happened to Josh. We still had unanswered questions, and in fact we still do have unanswered questions around how he got into the river and what happened to him.
The circumstances of Josh's death remain a mystery.
And Josh's mum, Ruth, is here with us now. Morning.
Hello,
I
good
know
morning.
it's really tough for you, even watching that as
Yeah.
well. Let's just talk a bit about, you had a service, didn't you, to celebrate
did.
his life?
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was quite amazing, really. I mean, we did it because we wanted to say thank you to everyone who'd helped try and find Josh, and also just to give a space and opportunity for all the young people and family and friends to get together to celebrate his life. So it was quite amazing, really. We had lots of young people came and played music, did poems, people talked about him, and it was a really good tribute to him, actually.
And I know during all the time that he was missing, you were really proactive in the search for him. Did you feel you just had to do that?
Well, I mean, Josh wasn't a typical runaway. He hadn't run away, something had happened to him. And I suppose our stance was, well, what can we do? Well, the only thing you can do is try and find your son. And it wasn't just us, young people were out looking for him on Christmas Day. A lot of his friends were doing that all the time, going out postering, talking to people on the internet, trying to find him. And lots of our friends and the community as a whole kind of pulled together to really try and find out what had happened to him.
And they were out there, you were out there as well, with the photographs and all the rest of it, weren't you?
Yeah. I mean, we had whole groups of people going out with posters, putting them all right across South East London, really. And, it was... everybody was desperate to try and find him.
OK, and on that night, it was Christmas Eve,
Yes.
wasn't it? So what you're trying to find out is if anybody else had seen him.
Yes, I mean, we've the sighting you've just mentioned on the film was at on Romney Road at the bus stop, but there's another potential sighting on Creek Road by the Hoy pub at about 10 to 6. But after that, we really don't know. We don't know how he got into the river, when he got into the river, where he got into the river. I mean, we feel that it happened in that area, the Greenwich area, but he just, there are no other sightings of him.
And people watching us this morning might think, oh, Greenwich, it's quite a tourist area, but given that it was Christmas Eve, it's sort of local people who are probably
there's a lot of
around.
local people. I mean, it's quite early in the evening. People are still coming back from work if they've been working Christmas Eve. There's people coming out of churches, from church services. There are a lot of a lot of local people. And, I mean, Josh was heading off towards the ice rink and did go into the ice rink. And a lot of local people go there as well, So, yes, there are some tourists, but, there are a lot of local people.
And what you want to know is anybody knows anything to get in contact,
Yes.
because you want to know what happened in those missing hours.
Yes, we do. I mean, we don't, as I mentioned, we've got no idea how he ended up in that river. I think the feeling is that it happened that night on Christmas Eve, but we've got no idea at all about how, where or when that happened. So any sightings of him in Greenwich that evening would be really appreciated.
We know that the police particularly have been really struck by how strong you personally have been through all of this. Now when you're at this stage, why is it you want to know, and is it that you need to know what happened to him?
I think it's partly there is a need to know, I think everybody needs to have reasons why something has happened, and it's for peace of mind. I mean, you want to know that he didn't suffer, that somebody didn't do something to him. You need to be able to discount certain things, and I think a lot of it is because it's such an exceptional thing that's happened to him that you need to be able to kind of dig a bit deeper and find out what happened.
And that would make a big difference to you.
I think it would help us kind of come to terms with it a bit more. Yeah.
OK, well, thanks for your time.
No, thank you very much.
And if you can help Ruth in any way to discover what happened to Josh, please call the Metropolitan Police on 0208 721 4868.
Back now to PC Penny Bateman's search for a brother. After 13 years apart, the police think they've tracked him down. But will he want to speak to his sister?
Penny Bateman has been a PC with the Met for over a year. She's worked on dozens of investigations. Now she's trying to solve one of her own. She's looking for her 35-year-old brother David, who she hasn't seen for 13 years. With over 1,000 cases a year, Hackney's Missing Persons Unit is one of the busiest in the country. Penny has asked for their help. Sergeant Dave Brewster is heading up the case.
It's the police here from Missing Persons Unit.
He and Graham Palmer have been hitting the phones trying to track David down. They've circulated his details around the country and made dozens of calls. They're concentrating on the area where Penny's brother was living 13 years ago. But after 2 days, they're still no closer.
Right.
Then there's a breakthrough. Oxfordshire Social Services have found a contact number for David's girlfriend on their database.
Right, so we'll give her a call. We'll explain to her that this is not a criminal investigation, and we'll see if we can draw him out, and see if he'll let us know how he is and what he's doing at the moment. OK, take care. Bye now. Right, excellent stuff. Got a number for the girlfriend. Basically, we've spoken to the social services in Oxford because he was receiving housing benefit and so on. Because of an issue that happened in 2006, the housing people have got a telephone number for the girlfriend. So I'm going to give her a bell in a moment just to find out whether David's willing to speak to us.
They may be one step closer to finding David, but if it is him, will he agree to speak to his sister?
Hello, could I speak to Dave or Sam? Dave, hello mate, don't be alarmed. My name's Dave Brewster. I'm a police officer ringing from Metropolitan Police from Hackney. Are you aware, Dave, that you've been reported as a missing person? It's your sister, Penny, and she really would love to hear from you. Is that something you'd be willing to do? It's down to you, really, as an adult, whether you're willing to have any contact with your family at all, and I totally understand and appreciate your position, so... All right, mate, good luck. Take care now. Bye.
So David has been found, and for Sergeant Brewster, the case is now closed. But what about Penny? After 13 years apart, has he agreed to see her?
Your brother David is still living in Oxford.
OK.
He's alive and well, and he's stipulated that he's happy to speak to you, his little sister. He really would like to speak to you. I haven't told him any of your business, not that I know any of it, but I think you've got a lot of catching up to do, and he's obviously got a lot to tell you. OK, mate? Yeah. That's good news. Better news, I think, than you might have been expecting, to be honest.
It is, actually, and very quick. You make it look so easy.
I hate to do that, but...
Right, excuse me, I'm going to go and make a phone call.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, you're welcome, mate.
It's a moment Penny has been waiting for since 1995. She's got her brother back.
I'm just relieved, happy, satisfied that I know that he's OK. We've got so much to catch up on. So much to catch up on. There's unbelievable amounts of tales and stories I've got to tell him, and likewise as well. Hello, darling, you all right?
Just amazing, isn't it? After 13 years,
I know, after
when
all
you've
that
lost
time.
contact, you can actually find somebody.
All that time, and it took just 1 week to find him.
Absolutely brilliant. I'm really delighted to say that Penny and her brother David are both here with us.
Come on, guys.
Oh,
Come on, mate.
morning. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming to see us.
Pleasure.
David, so we saw you in the film, you getting that phone call. What was that moment like when you knew that Penny was trying to find you?
Shocked. I was kind of shocked, and I was being place missing. I didn't know anything like that, so...
And we were all watching the film, we were kind of worried that maybe you wouldn't want to be in contact with her, but you did you?
Yeah, it was my little sister.
So what was the first phone call like?
Oh, it was like a quick, you were like, oh, I've got to see you tomorrow. Yeah, no worries. Quick call.
So Ben, what was it like for you when you first met up again after all that time?
It's very surreal, excuse me, to be honest. It's like, it's absolute relief. Anybody who's ever had a loved one go missing, whether it be for a week or for a year, to suddenly find them again, it's the longer it is, the more relief there is, I think. And then it's kind of surreal to a point where we haven't actually sat down and had a cry yet. It's kind of moved very fast.
A bit of a whirlwind.
Yeah, it has been quite fast.
And I suppose the family has changed as well, hasn't it?
Yeah.
With a couple of kids.
Yeah, 3 boys.
More Christmas presents.
Yeah. So you've got 3 boys?
Yeah, I've got 3 boys.
So how do you even start to catch up? Is it the beginning of the whole process now for you, David?
Yeah, it's just getting used to having a sister again.
So Penny, as a police officer, how did you find this, taking a sort of a back foot, if you like, and letting the missing people unit take care of the investigation rather than you doing it yourself?
Well, I can't do it myself, and also the missing persons unit, I have to say, are absolute legends, because he's missing for 13 years and they found him within like a day. So that itself is quite amazing. They had to get permission because David was missing from Oxfordshire, not London, which is the Met. So once that was gained, and I put the report on, they found him, and they're masters at it. What can I say?
And tell us a little bit about your lives now. Has it changed things for you, the fact that you're both back in contact now? How has it changed things?
It's a good feeling just to have her around.
Oh, and do you talk to each other virtually every day, don't you, Penny?
Yeah, about 3 or 4 times, 5 times,
Yeah.
texting.
Texting as well?
Doing that as well?
Yeah.
You mentioned you got 3 boys now. Have they met Penny now?
Yeah.
And what do they think?
They're bang over the moon.
Are they?
Yeah.
I bet that. And do they know the story, the fact that you've been a part of it? You know?
They know the outlines.
And she found you through the police?
Yeah.
And what's really interesting, Penny, here as well, because we've had over the last 3 weeks lots of cases that are a long time. People are missing for a long time. So there is still hope for people, is there?
Yeah.
They can find people.
Never give up. Just absolutely never give up. Just never give up. That's the best advice I can give. Because something will always, it will always come to something. They'll always turn up, one way or another.
Okay.
No one stays lost forever.
Thank you very much. Lovely to
You're
see you
welcome.
both. Thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
to see us. If you have a reunited story to tell us, please email us at missing.live@bbc.co.uk, or you could write to us at Missing Live, PO Box 63814, London, N11HF.
And Dave Brewster from the Met Police is back with us. Dave, that was a fantastic story with Penny and Dave. How did you do it?
Well, it's about knowing where to start. Most people over a period of time will leave an audit trail on various databases. Fortunately for us, but unfortunately for David, he was a victim of crime some 4 years ago. And it was through that initial record that we got an old address, which led me on to further inquiries.
Fantastic. I mean, it must be great reuniting a family like this.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, if Penny don't mind me saying, I think she was expecting bad news. And it was really nice to actually get someone back together after so long, and it clearly meant a lot to them.
Yeah, and it was so long, but your team managed to do it so quickly, which was the great thing. Just a couple of days, wasn't it, that you actually got them. When you made that call and you first spoke to him, you found him and he was obviously safe and well, but did it go through your mind that he might not want to be found? Yes.
After such a long time, a lot of people don't want to be found, and it's a bit of a cat and mouse game because we still have to look.
So it could have been a concern, but luckily in this case he did.
Absolutely.
Now, very quickly, you've got another case you want us to look at today, haven't you?
Yeah, we're also looking for a gentleman by the name of Rodney Holdham. Mr. Holdham is missing from the Hackney area. He's vulnerable and he's in need of medication.
Yeah.
We really would like to have any calls on Mr.
Okay,
Holdham.
44-year-old guy. He may be drawing attention to himself with his own behaviour, I understand.
That's right,
so
yeah.
people to urgently call us with him. And very quickly, you've got an update on John Brady.
Yeah, John Brady, we've had some fantastic amount of calls into the office as a result of the programme. We believe he is in the Finsbury Park area. Excellent. And we're confident we'll speak to him soon.
Brilliant. Well, fingers crossed that people call in on there. And if you have any idea where Rodney or John are, then please call the Met Police in Hackney on 0207 275 3402. Local call rates apply.
Joe, it's a busy morning this morning. You're getting calls in, aren't you? Let's just quickly talk about Liz Kershaw. We met her son and grandson here on the programme. Are we getting calls on her?
Yes, we are. We took about a dozen calls yesterday on Liz, so we're really hoping that one of those comes to something positive and she can meet her grandson.
Yes, she's been missing since 2005, and from what we've just seen, you know, even after some years, people can be reunited, can find people, can't
That's
they?
right. Even with cases of 5, 10 years, 15 years, people do get reunited, so those calls can really make a difference.
Other calls, tell us what else we're getting.
Yeah, we featured Craig Heatherington earlier. We've taken 3 calls on Craig, and we've also had 4 calls on Ron Hopper as well, so we're hoping one of those will lead to a positive outcome.
OK, so anybody who's seen appeals today, just call in, because every call can make a difference, can't it?
That's right. Even if it seems really insignificant, it can make a difference,
OK.
so please call in.
Thank you.
We return now to the case of Ron Hopper. There's been no word from him for 3 days. Then his mobile switched on. But will the signal lead police to him?
Ron Hopper's 28. His home's in Eastbourne in Sussex, where he works as a joiner. He's close to his brother Terry, especially as both their parents have died. Ron's generous, but he starts living beyond his means and runs up debts of over £40,000. By January 2006, Ron's brother is worried about him.
I'm used to him being very bubbly, very fun and off the wall, but he wasn't himself.
On the 13th of February, Ron doesn't turn up for work. He's reported missing. Police aim to trace Ron by tracking the calls to and from his mobile.
We initiated some telephone inquiries, knowing that Ron had a mobile telephone with him.
Calls Ron made on the day of his disappearance give officers their first lead.
Some billing came back that showed that Ron had in fact contacted a local taxi company. Someone fitting Ron's description had been picked up from his home address and then dropped off near Eastbourne rail station.
All the evidence suggests Ron has left the area. But where has he gone? A clue arrives through his landlady's letterbox the following morning.
On the 14th, which was Valentine's Day, I got a card through the post. I opened it up and there was £500 in it in £50 notes. I'm 99.9% sure that was Ron's handwriting.
The card has a Kent postmark. It's unsigned, but other evidence gathered by police suggests that it's been sent by him.
We were able to establish that Ron withdrew £300 from his bank account on the 12th in Eastbourne. And then another £300 was withdrawn from an account in Barming in Kent.
Could this prove that Ron has travelled to Kent? But there are no more clues. Then, 3 days later, there's a potential breakthrough. Ron's mobile, which has been switched off since his disappearance, suddenly becomes active again.
The fact that it had been switched on was picked up by an aerial situated at Whitesmith, which is halfway between Lewes and Hailsham in East Sussex. Now, this indicated to us that Ron was potentially back within the East Sussex area.
Everyone hopes Ron could be heading back to Eastbourne. But his phone isn't turned on again, and there are no more transactions on his bank account.
I began to get more worried as the days turned into weeks. And so I got more involved in speaking to various people down there that I knew to see if we could make any contact.
But there are no sightings of his brother. Ron has vanished. Terry has now collected his brother's belongings from his home in Eastbourne.
This is all Ron's stuff that we took from his landlady's house. This is his diary. You can see he was sorting out his budget on the 17th of January and that he was seeing a financial advisor But I think he was trying to get himself in order.
Terry's been storing Ron's things since 2006, hoping he'll be back one day to claim them. It's a similar story over in Eastbourne.
It's something he never took, and here it is, Ron's little box. Some lucky young lady who was going to get that. The little compartments. It's quite a nice little thing. And there it still is, waiting for him to come back and finish it. You know, if you're out there, Ron, and you're watching this, just give us a ring. Ring your old mates and say, yep, I'm still there. Just so that we know, you know. Get upset, really. It's a bit mad.
Ron Hopper has now been missing for over 2 years.
And if you know anything about where Ron could be, then please get in touch. And here's a reminder of just some of the cases that need your help.
Yes, a 72-year-old Edward Grant. He went missing from Lambeth in South London 6 days ago. There is great concern for Edward as he may be unwell. We really need your help to find him. So far, no calls on him this morning.
16-year-old Bing Wu was last seen in Loughborough in Leicestershire on the 25th of February. Originally from China, Bing is a very vulnerable teenager, and if you have any knowledge of her whereabouts, then please pick up the phone and call. Again, no calls through yet on her.
We've just seen the case of 28-year-old Ron Hopper. Now, he's been missing from Eastbourne since the 13th of February 2006, when he didn't turn up for work. Thank you. 4 calls so far.
That's good. Also still missing, though, is 44-year-old Rodney Holdham. He disappeared on the 16th of April from his home in Hackney, East London. Rodney's unwell without his medication, so we urgently need to find him.
Yes, if you can help in any way, please call missing people. All calls are confidential. They're waiting to hear from you now. Those lines are open 24 hours a day, and they are open all over the weekend as well.
On Monday's programme, we'll have updates on all our appeals, plus...
He's an experienced climber, but when blizzards hit the Cairngorms, David Amos gets lost for days in sub-zero temperatures.
The mysterious disappearance of Gavin Wilson. If he's not in his hometown of Scarborough, then where could he be?
Thank you for all your calls this week. It's been a really busy week. People are being found. We've had a phenomenal response, even to some of those photo appeals. So please keep watching us and please keep calling as well.
We have, and we have had a great response, but there's some cases like Michael Hunter, if you remember, he was the walker who went from Darlington. We've had lots and lots of calls on him, but we urgently need to speak to that couple that thought they actually had a picnic with him.
Yeah.
Now, we've appealed for them to come forward, and we really hope they do, because they could have some crucial evidence and
they
leads on
might
this.
even have a photo of him, mightn't
Absolutely.
they? So
Yeah.
if you are that
Need
couple...
to get back in touch. So people are being found. Then Paul Hopkins as well, there's another
Yes,
one.
brilliant. Somebody called in the programme about Paul Hopkins, and basically his parents heard about a sighting of him in Brighton. They went, his dad, to Brighton, and they found him after 3 hours searching on the beach, which is absolutely brilliant.
Which was
We'll
a
have more on
direct
him and his
appeal,
family.
direct result of this as well, wasn't it?
It was, absolutely.
Flew straight down there, which was brilliant news.
Hopefully his family will be here with us next week. So that's all we have time for this morning. Thanks for all those calls. Please keep them coming in.
They really do matter. And we'll be back on Monday at 9:15 for our final week of programmes. Please help us reunite more families.
Until then, thanks for watching. Goodbye. Keep those calls coming in. The lines are open all of the weekend. See you Monday.
Bye-bye.